What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and oftentimes I'll cover when social justice runs amok and invades our schools or imposes itself on unwilling participants in employment or government. And this gender identity training is some of the most insidious, insane stuff I've ever seen. Look, if you want to go down this road and get woke, and train yourself, that is entirely fine. I support you. However, when it's forced on employees, made a requirement for employees, that's when I have a gigantic problem. We see this with critical race theory invading our schools, making young students learn original sin and feel bad about themselves simply because of the color of their skin. It's like we're in the upside down and we've gone completely backwards in terms of, judging people by the content of their character first. It's almost like I need some sort of special glasses to protect me before I get into this article. Huge shout out to Blue Blocks. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Blue Blocks. Look, I stare at computer screens and monitors all day, and I know a lot of you do too. While we're probably working, most of us, there's also gaming, there's time spent looking at our cell phones, and I absolutely feel the strain at the end of the day. That's why I'm really glad to have this sponsor, Blue Blocks, that helps alleviate that. Look, blue light damages our eyes and leads to digital eye strain. Symptoms of digital eye strain are blurred vision, headaches, and dry, watery eyes. Blue Blocks was created to fix this problem and block out blue light with high-quality lenses. Unlike other types of blue light lenses, Blue Blocks are evidence-backed and made under optics laboratory conditions in Australia. If you spend as much time staring at screens as I do, you should strongly consider giving these a try. And to make it easier for you, you can go to blueblocks.com/thequartering and use promo code thequartering at checkout to get 20% off and enjoy free shipping on all orders over $115. Get your energy back, sleep better, and block out the unhealthy effects of blue light with Blue Blocks. That's BLUBLOX.com/thequartering. Your eyes will thank you. Definitely give them a try. Give your eyes a break from all that blue light. Now, training in gender identity now required for New York City employees. One scene shows a woman at a sonogram appointment where she excitedly says, "It's a girl." A woman pops in response, "Well, actually, it's more complicated than that." No, it isn't. New York City employees are now required to complete online training developed by the city that goes into gender expression. The new law establishes minimum standards for bad behavior and training. All New York State employees are required to either adopt and use the state's model policy as is, or to use the models as a basis to establish their own policy and training, states the New York state law that requires said training. This training, developed by the New York Commission on Human Rights, satisfies state and city requirements for mandatory harassment training. I guess they didn't give that to their governor, did they? That was signed back in 2019. Included as part of the city-created training in a video discussing gender and things of that nature. Screenshots were obtained by the Daily Wire's Myriad McCardle. So this is a quote from the training. Quote, "We like to define people, right?" A man says, explaining perceptions of gender identity. So when people are born, society defines them by looking at their reproductive organs and labels them as male or female. Look, I think that being progressive is totally fine. Being woke, totally fine. Until such a point where you deny science or you are actively infringing on someone else's rights. For example, my favorite band just announced a new concert, a small venue, where you will be forced to show your card that you got the poke. And on top of that, you still have to wear a mask. So Are we ignoring science? Are we doing this for optics? These are where I have a problem. Look, if you want to cut off a huge swath of your customers and force them to give up their medical history to see you play a guitar, go ahead. If you willingly do that, you're a stooge. But that's his right. And I won't be paying. I've seen the guy about a dozen times, and I won't be going anymore. One scene shows a woman at a sonogram appointment where she excitedly says, "It's a girl." A woman responds by saying, "Actually, it's more complicated than that." 6 people go on to describe their gender after this statement: a cisgender woman and man, a trans woman and man, and 2 non-binary people. Again, it's so weird. This is such a weird time of privilege, right? Like, again, if you want to do this training, you're more than welcome to. When you force it on your employees, and this stuff is not backed by science, then I have a problem with it. I'm a trans woman. I identify as a woman, even though I was born assigned something different. Doesn't say I was born a man. Tamara, who identifies as a transgender person, says, a man holding up a baby in a blue blanket says, "Oh, it's a boy." It is. To which Tamara responds, no, and removes the blue blanket to reveal a pink one. Oh, stunning and brave. Woo. Off with the baby blue blanket, on with the new gender identity. What is this? Are we, seriously, listen, folks, I'm genuinely asking. Am I crazy? Is it am I that backwards that I think, boy, it's cool that the government is pushing what can only be described as propaganda on their employees? Look, you're an adult, you want to identify as whatever. I 100%, again, I've always said this, I 100% respect you and your choice. Or not even, if some would say it's not a choice, it's not a choice, whatever. You get what I'm saying, all right? It's hard to use the right words without offending people. I respect you, and you do you. Just don't infringe on someone else's rights, which, you know, most people don't want to do that. 2 people who describe themselves as non-binary go on to state what that means to them. Are we really giving... For me, it means that I don't identify as either a man or a woman. A person who calls himself the letter C says. As for me, that means I don't identify with any gender. To me, okay, that's fine. But, like, maybe... Oh, God, this article. The video describes gender both part of our identities, yet completely different. So don't assume somebody's preferences based on their gender, says one woman. I just feel like a lot of these people don't have anything interesting to say, so then they make their whole identity this. I don't know. And why is the government training this? Scenes from New York City's online harassment prevention training. Let me ask you something. If you're a cis man, do you need a plaid shirt? Bulging muscles? The stereotypical cis man apparently wears Star Wars and flannel shirts and carries an extension cord. Yeah, right. Bottom line is, you understand your identity better than anyone else, says a transgender woman. Sure, I believe that. You know, of course. And you see this absurd training. New York City employees forced to complete ultra woke gender identity training. Employees in New York City must complete mandatory online training developed by the city. Who's developing this? Scientists? PhDs? I don't think so. I really don't think so. And like, ultimately, what does this have to do with being better at your job? This just seems like we're living in a time of such extreme excess that, you know, we can make up all this stuff to train people on and to work on and all this kind of stuff, rather than, focusing on real problems. But I mean, that's just me. Hey, before you leave, make sure you check out Blue Blocks. Their sponsorship is important to this channel. We'll talk to you again real soon.